You may have recently heard about the Adjudicated Property Task Force that was created by Helena Moreno under an executive order signed recently. Let's talk about that for a second. As I've already explained in a recent video, if your property is adjudicated, that means what? That means you still own your property, right? So let's keep that in mind moving forward in this video. I've read the entire executive order, all 4 pages, and to keep it short, what the task force is supposed to accomplish besides putting these properties into commerce is to affect affordable housing in the community, right? That's the goal, that's the outcome. We like to hear that. We love that word, affordable housing. You know, my personal mantra is that there's no affordable housing like the housing that you already own. So about that, a plan that I think will work and serve the residents of this city in a much better way, you have to understand what the goal is of the adjudicated properties in the first place. Those 6,500 properties, the plan is to get them with marketable title and to take them away from the property owners who currently owe them and to pass title to a third party, usually an investor, a nonprofit, or basically to clear title to get these properties away from the current owners to a new owner who's going to do something with those properties. We have 6,500 properties. Of the majority of these properties are owned by generational residents of the city of New Orleans, people that lived here pre-Hurricane Katrina, people that have been an integral fabric of this community for over half a century, right? I'm telling you this from experience. These aren't, new properties that are adjudicated. These people have owned these properties for generations. Some of your particular local elected officials will lead you to believe that these properties are blighted, adjudicated because these people just don't care, because the property owners just don't care, because they're negligent. And I'm here to tell you, for a small percentage of people, that may be true, but for the majority of people, it's not. It's not true at all. They fell behind the 8 ball. They haven't been able to get back in front of it. And since Hurricane Katrina, these people just have not been able to get it together for a myriad of reasons that we don't even have time to go into. And I think these people deserve a second chance. If anyone should understand that, it should be the city of New Orleans. I can count on more than 2 hands how many properties in the city of New Orleans that are owned by the city of New Orleans are still blighted to this day due to Hurricane Katrina, and so can you. So perhaps an equitable solution here may be to say, okay, if you are an owner or a descendant of one of these adjudicated properties, we're going to start a program whereby if you meet the criteria, we're going to waive all delinquencies, code enforcement liens, interest, penalties, fees, even a portion of the principal tax amount that are delinquent. That sounds crazy, right? But it's not crazy at all, because if you remember recently for the soap auctions that were held by Civic Source, that was how they sold the adjudicated properties. A majority of those properties were $30,000, $40,000 delinquent in code enforcement liens and taxes and things like that, when the lot itself might not be worth more than $10,000. But the city was able to waive and forgive those taxes and those fees so that it could be sold to a third party with clear title, right? Well, if we can do it for the investors, I think we could do it for the residents who own the properties now. Let's go through a quick example of how this will work, right? I own a lot in the lower 9th Ward that's adjudicated. That's one of those 6,500 properties. I'm a descendant. It belonged to my grandmother. I would first have to do probate and a succession to prove to the city of New Orleans that there are not a bunch of scattered heirs and that the estate and the probate situation is taken care of. That has to be done, number one, if it's a property that's owned by a deceased titled owner. Second, I have to have architectural plans, engineering plans stamped by an engineer to be ready to submit to the permit department if I plan to redevelop a property on my land. That's requirement number 2. You have to have architectural plans stamped by an engineer, right? Requirement number 3, proof of funds. You have to have proof of some type of financing. It can be self-financing, but it has to be proof of funds that you have the funds ready to go in order to take on this project and redevelop that property that you're going to build and live in as your homestead, as your primary residence. Upon submitting these 3 requisites to the City of New Orleans, the City of New Orleans agrees to waive all code enforcement liens against that property, all interest, all penalties accrued, all even principal taxes, right? You waive those and allow that property owner to basically have a property that's free and clear with no delinquencies and giving them a second chance at affordable housing. Because like I said, there's no housing more affordable than the housing which you can create for yourself on land that you already own. Now, this doesn't have to be the primary and the only exclusive option to put those 6,500 properties back into commerce, but it can be an option. And it's an option that allows people to move back into the City of New Orleans at a time when things are unaffordable. Mortgages, insurance is unaffordable. Buying houses is unaffordable, right? This allows them a head start because they already own their land. And here's another kicker for you. A lot of you might not know, but if you already own the land and then you go and get a construction loan, you don't have to put up the 20% that usually you would have to put up when you acquire a house. So that takes away another level of challenges for the residents because they already own the land. So that when they go and they get a loan to put a home on it, it's basically a refinance. It's not an acquisition where they got to come up with 10% or 20% down, right? This helps the city, this helps the residents, this helps people to repatriate their community, and it's something I think that the Adjudicated Property Task Force should definitely look into. I hope that you send this to your local elected officials. I hope you send this to your city council people. I hope you send this to Mayor Helena Moreno, because 6,500 properties is a big deal. What happens with 6,500 properties is a big deal, and I really hope y'all don't fall asleep on this. I'm Morris Waiters. I'm the founder of Title MD. If you need to reach us, I could be reached at 1-858-TITLE-DOCTOR. That's TITLEDR. And I could also be reached by email at jw@thetitlemd.com. That's the letter J, the letter W, @thetitlemd.com. I appreciate y'all for watching. Please like and subscribe. That means a lot. I'll talk to y'all soon. Peace.